Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pets Add Life, the only show where you get me, Chris Bonifati, and joined by, for the second time as always, the absolutely lovely Tori, Mistick. Tori, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Chris? You're back home, it looks like?
No, this is another away game. I'm in South Carolina. South Carolina, visiting the in-laws. That's why the background looks nice. They have much nicer things than I do.
Well, it looks lovely. Maybe you should stay.
Don't give my wife any ideas. She's already asking for extra time, and I'm missing the autumn season back up at home. So I'm itching to get back up there before the holidays start up. But speaking of holidays, we are celebrating Veterans Day. So thank you to all of our lovely veterans out there for their service. And we will have, of course, some special Veterans Day content coming down the tube. But until then, it's Pets Add Life. You know the deal. We've got 2 stories, 2 products, 2 guests. We're going to answer 2 of your questions. Tori is going to do 2 back handsprings, so you don't want to miss it.
It's going to be off camera, unfortunately, but just take my word for it.
It's going to be off camera. It's just going to be sounds. It's going to be a ASMR back handsprings.
Yeah, of Tori hitting her head on the ground.
And on that note, let's go ahead and jump into story time.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
All right, so I have a good story, especially for Veterans Day, with you today, Chris. So back in 2017, so a little while ago, I was working with my dog, Lucy. We started doing therapy dog training. I thought she'd be a great therapy dog. She had a perfect temperament, except for on the test, there was a part where you have to walk by a bowl of dog food on the floor and not lunge for it. And given that she was a Labrador, that took a little bit of training effort to walk past that bowl. But soon enough, we did pass the test, and we started volunteering at the Southwestern Veterans Center in Pittsburgh. And it wasn't really a formal program. Sometimes you hear about therapy dog programs that are very organized. This was just kind of show up whenever you can, help out in any way that you are able to. So we would go up there. It was close to my house. So we'd go up and we just kind of wander around, maybe stop in the TV room, chat with some people. And it was really cool. Lucy always sort of knew she was at work when we were there. And so she would sit beside someone's wheelchair. She was never like running around like the crazy lab that she was. She would just kind of chill out and just kind of be with people. And I knew that a lot of the folks there, it was sort of like a nursing home for veterans. So a lot of people didn't really get a lot of visitors. So just being there was really great for a lot of those folks. So one day I had a very stressful morning, and we decided to run over there and volunteer for an hour. And on the drive home, it really hit me that being there and doing therapy dog work with Lucy, it wasn't just therapy for the people we were visiting with, but it was really therapy for me too, because I couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't check my emails. You just had to be present. And it really did me so much good. And it was such like an aha moment for me. So today being Veterans Day, I think that we tend to think of service as something really big and heroic and dramatic. But Lucy really taught me that sometimes service is just kind of showing up, just being there and giving someone your full attention. So I think that's just a little something that we can all remember today, to just be present, to ask people how they are and listen to their answer. And dogs are just such a great example of how to do that.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing story. And I like what you said, that service doesn't have to be grand. And I think I want to compound that by saying a lot of people think that there's this, almost like this reverse double think, where they think they'll be posers if they just volunteer casually for things. But I just want to tell everybody that most volunteers are what I call what you can, when you can volunteers, which are people who volunteer at either, shelters or soup kitchens or food banks, wherever they may be, not regularly and not on a regular schedule, but when they can. And those people make an enormous impact. So if you are considering volunteering, consider it harder.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I would recommend picking a place that's very close to your house because it makes it easier to just do those pop-ins. So we just kind of lucked out signing up for the Southwestern Veterans Center and meeting so many great people there.
That's why I don't go to the gym. It's a quarter mile away. It needs to be 1,000 yards, It's just a quarter mile is just too far. Anyway.
Do you have a good story for us today?
I do. This is a nice feel-good story. I was on Petco Love's media page because they do a lot of work with veterans, and I was trying to find a press release that had to do with that, but I stumbled upon this press release instead, and it's all about this app called Love Lost, which is an AI-driven app that seeks to reunite parents with their lost pet. And the AI is powered by user submission. So I think this is really important to get the word out there. The premise is download this app, keep it on your phone, especially if you live in a big city. And if you find a lost animal, you upload a picture to it. And on the other side of things, if you lose your pet, you upload a picture and it uses the AI to sort of scour and try to find. And it will also do things like automatically post across local social medias like Facebook pages that it could find that have to do with lost pets, and Nextdoor, which is like the worst version of Facebook for even more boomier boomers. But it'll automatically do those things. So, the press release was all around this woman, Sharon, who lost her cat. And Sharon is self-identifies as being not very tech savvy at all. And just like that, this is a person who is considering like going out and putting flyers up, like paper flyers, which, I mean, obviously you do whatever you can when your pet is lost. And they picked up this app, had heard about it. And before they knew it, the cat's picture was all over Facebook, all over Nextdoor, all over Instagram. And eventually the cat was found. Somebody had uploaded a picture of the cat. AI matched it up, and Sharon was able to recover her pet. So the app, again, is called Love Lost. A great one to just go ahead and throw on your phone and make an account, just so in case you encounter a missing animal, or if, God forbid, you're ever in a situation where your pet is lost. I just think it's a really cool tool. It is AI that's not trying to steal my job, so we'll take it.
This is giving me hope, AI for good, because I feel like I'm always hearing like AI is going to take over and end all humans.
AI is going to do all the creative stuff, and you're going to be stuck answering emails and mining lithium to power their batteries.
Right. When they take over the world. I think I've heard of this app before. And if I remember correctly, I think someone recommended setting up a profile and uploading a photo of your dog now in case they ever do go missing. Then they're kind of already primed and ready in the system. You'll find them hopefully even faster.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
And joining us on the podcast now is Becca Britton, the founder and executive director of Neighborhood Pets Outreach and Resource Center, a Cleveland-based nonprofit dedicated to helping low-income pet owners keep care of their companion animals. Founded in 2016, Neighborhood Pets provides accessible services, including free pet food, low-cost wellness clinics, spay and neuter vouchers, and behavioral resources, all rooted in a compassionate community trust model. Becca's background in animal welfare dates back to 2003, where she founded Friends of the Cleveland Kennel before launching Neighborhood Pets to address systematic barriers to pet care. As a result, she's the 2022 Humane Society of the United States Humane Leader of the Year and a 2025 Human Animal Bond Innovation Award recipient. She's got more medals than an alloy. Absolutely incredible. Becca, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. Of course. So Neighborhood Pets, let's start there. Its mission, keeping pets and people together, which is an amazing mission. And for those of us who are lucky enough to never have to really feel threatened about losing their pet, it's something you really never want to experience. So you're very lucky if you're one of those people. But what inspired you to create this model, and what makes it different from traditional, let's say, like shelter-based welfare approaches?
Sure. So Many years ago, when I was running the friends group for animal control, we started hosting vaccine clinic events across the city and focusing on high need areas. And back then, it was hard to even find a veterinarian that would work. I'm sorry, I'm having an issue on my screen. Sorry. It was hard to find a veterinarian that would even get involved with the vaccine clinic event because the culture was vets were taking away business from vets by providing free vaccines to lower income individuals. The culture has completely changed since then. So, but back then, that's how we started. We started hosting these events, and we would do them outside, 90-degree days. Sometimes it would be pouring rain, and we would have hundreds of people waiting for hours, literally in the pouring rain. And it's just to get a vaccine for their dog. So after doing that for a little while, I started also doing some outreach work on the west side of Cleveland, helping people in their homes. It was modeled after Pets for Life. And so I would go out 75% of my day going to people's homes, helping them with their pets, vaccinating, spay, neuter, all of that. And what I saw in people's homes was they are really struggling not only to take care of their pets, but to take care of themselves. And basically, what I saw after doing that for 3 years, I couldn't unsee. I really understood that there was a huge gap that needed to be filled because at the time it was really all the focus was on animal shelters and rescues taking pets in and no support for pet owners in taking care of their pets. Even then, the vet care was so expensive. Nowadays, it's expensive just for someone with middle income. So,
Yep.
and I think, it's the idea of making pet care actually accessible, affordable, and presented in a way that we are in the community, part of the community. We're not people coming in and telling you how to take care of your pets. We're your partner. And I think that's what really sets us apart from a lot of other organizations running these programs because we are a standalone nonprofit. We're not associated with animal control, animal shelters. We work with them, but our focus is the pet owner and building trust in the community that we serve.
Yeah, that's such an interesting paradigm shift from shelters taking pets in to
Yeah.
helping pets stay in their homes, and I think that's so important. And probably part of the reason why you were recently recognized by HABRI, which is a Human Animal Bond Research Institute, which I know to them keeping pets and people together is very important. So you were the winner of the 2025 Human Animal Bond Innovation Award. So what does that mean to you? And how does that kind of help you further your mission?
Oh my gosh, yeah. We this recognition meant the world to us, and it really validates what we've been doing for 9 years, and that's supporting people and helping them take care of their pets. So, the Hobry Innovation Award really shines a light on community-based preventive approaches in animal welfare, and that's exactly what Neighborhood Pets is built on. Our staff, our volunteers, our partners pour their hearts into this work every single day. So this award feels like a shared celebration of their dedication and the amazing pet owners that we serve.
Well decorated and humble. We love it. So pet retention is obviously really coming to the forefront as a national priority in animal welfare. And I imagine that there may be community leaders across the country right now who may be listening and thinking, wow, maybe there's something here I can copy and paste over into my community to make it a better place. What advice would you have for community leaders who want to increase pet retention in their neighborhoods?
The first thing that I would do is really, every community is different. Every the obstacles in Cleveland, Ohio are going to be different, in Detroit, Michigan, or for example, in like a rural community. It's very different. We're in an urban community. So I think the very first step is that you really need to understand your community. You need to get out. One of our first steps was really understanding the demographics and the income levels across the city and being strategic about where we wanted to be located. So our location is central in the city of Cleveland, and it's near a lot of bus lines. So that was all intentional because of transportation being the first obstacle, along with cost. So I think, understanding your community, focusing on the most underserved neighborhoods. What are the resources? Really do an audit of what's available, what the gaps are, and really start to ask the questions: what do people need the most? And I think for us, one important thing was being consistent. So, we have our storefront and we are open the same days every week that we have been for 9 years. And we have the same services every day for 9 years. So people know how to get to us. They know how we can help them. And then we're also always staying on top of other resources in the community. So if we can't help them directly, we can direct them to someone who can, that we trust. So I would start there, and then once you figure that out, the next step is how you're going to pay for it, and
Becca, we're coming up on time, but before we go, I'm curious if you have any future innovative plans, since you're an innovation expert for neighborhood pets, or maybe the broader movement, and also let the folks at home know where they could go to learn more.
Sure. So one of the things that my passion is really getting the word out about how our model works and how it can be duplicated. So that I'm very excited about. I think that people see what we do and it just seems like this overwhelming concept, like how will we ever do that? How will we ever afford to do that? And, we're not magicians, like we did it and we've been doing it. And I'm really passionate about other cities doing this as well, because I see how valuable it is. So that's one of the biggest goals. And then too, if you want to read more about neighborhood pets, get involved, contact me. You can reach us on our website, which is neighborhoodpetscle.org. And you can see on our website, there's a link to our Facebook page, which is always loaded with client stories, and a lot of our, fun partnerships with other agencies.
Yeah. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, this was amazing. I'm definitely going to be following your story as it continues. And if you're out there, check it out. You never know what you could do for your community until you take a chance and try. So Becca, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day and hopping on the podcast.
Thank you guys so much.
What a lovely program. I think it's really difficult to get going on some of these non-for-profits. I think it's if to physics nerd you, there's like static and dynamic forces of friction, which is like the premise that it's tougher to get something moving than to keep it moving.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I just love hearing all these stories about people who took a big chance on something they believed in, and now it has some serious momentum.
Yes, because when you first start, everyone's like, you can't do that. That's never been done
and
before.
And they're usually right. It's really hard to succeed. But yeah, I think Becca has some serious momentum going, and the fact that she wants other communities to look at what she's done because it can help. I mean, if you're out there.
It's such a great shift, this prioritizing keeping pets in the home rather than just taking pets into the shelter, because we know the shelters get really overloaded and overworked and they're underfunded. So if you can keep pets in the home, it's really a win-win for everyone. On this Veterans Day, we are honored to welcome Wyatt Haynes. He's the Chief Canine and Business Officer at K9s For Warriors, an organization devoted to pairing rescue dogs with veterans to provide service, therapy, or loving adoptive homes. In his role, Wyatt works closely with the senior leadership team to scale and strengthen K9s For Warriors' mission. He directly oversees the canine training program, ensuring that every dog meets the organization's high standards, whether that dog goes on to be a service dog, a therapy dog, or is placed with their forever family. Before joining K9s For Warriors, Wyatt spent over 26 years at UPS. Earlier, he served in the United States Navy for 4 years as a gas turbine mechanic aboard the USS Hugh City. Wyatt also holds a BS in Business Administration and is currently completing an MBA and a Master's of Divinity from Liberty University. Beyond his professional life, he also volunteers on the board of Blessings in a Backpack, which is a wonderful program to provide food to children in several Florida counties. He is married to Bridget. They have 3 children, and they enjoy spending time with family, riding bikes, and cheering on their favorite sports teams. Welcome to the show, Wyatt.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here today.
What an incredible resume, though. Wow.
Yeah, you are a busy guy. So since it is Veterans Day today, let's just kind of start there. What does this mean to you to be here talking to us about K9s For Warriors here on this special holiday?
I just want to thank you guys for allowing us to be here on this special day and just really highlighting what we do here at K9s For Warriors. Veterans Day for me is about remembering service, but I think it's even more about that. It's just celebrating that strength and that resilience and all the purpose that comes from it. You know, when I joined the Navy out of high school, I didn't know who I was or where I was. I had no purpose in this world, you know, and I think what a lot of people don't understand, you know, and I'm not going to speak for all of our military men and women out there, but I know for me, I joined as a kid who only cared about myself. And, you know, just after a couple months in boot camp, I can honestly tell you I was willing to give my life up for this country without a shadow of a doubt, without a second question even being asked. And, you know, when you think about the willingness to, you know, give your life up for something that you don't even truly know or understand, it just speaks volumes of the individuals who are willing to go out there and make those incredible sacrifices for us. You know, the Navy gave me direction. It taught me discipline. It taught me teamwork. It taught me what it means to be, you know, something bigger than myself. And it helped me grow up and build a foundation for the person that I am today. And Veterans Day just kind of reminds me of those, you know, lessons we learn in service even after the uniform comes off, and it sticks with us, and it shapes how we lead, how we give, and how we keep serving in all new ways. So today I am so very lucky to be able to say that I am honored to work for K9s For Warriors, where we pair, you know, veterans who are struggling from PTSD and other invisible wounds of war with their life-saving battle buddy, that service dog. And, you know, our mission is to end veteran suicide. That's it. I mean, that sums it up. That is what we're here for. That's what we all wake up every day and want to, you know, accomplish. And, you know, every time a warrior meets their service dog for the first time, you can see the hope come back into their eyes. And that's the power of service. It heals, it unites, and it just transforms. So on Veterans Day, I think about the brotherhood and the sisterhood that never goes away. I think about the power of continuing to serve. And I'm reminded that the best way to honor veterans is to keep fighting for one another, because our mission doesn't end when we come home. It's just the start of a new chapter.
Yeah, that's an incredible way to start this interview, Wyatt. I'm already so moved. But you talked about going to the Navy, gaining discipline, and now your job is largely passing that discipline down to these service dogs. But we have a lot of, I'll just say it, fake service dogs in this country. A lot of people putting, you know, emotional support vests on their little chihuahua who's basically just housebroken, and that's it. Obviously, your standards are incredibly high because of the needs of these veterans with, those invisible wounds of war. So can you talk a little bit about the standard you hold these dogs to and the amount of discipline that's required before you say this dog is ready to help?
Absolutely. People always ask me what's easier to manage, dogs or people. And I think you may know the answer. It is dogs. It is. It really is. But at K9s For Warriors, our standards are extremely high because these dogs aren't just companions. They're not pets. They're lifesavers. A lot of people don't realize that, for the same thing a wheelchair is to somebody who can't walk, these dogs are that life-saving device for our warriors who are out there struggling with these invisible wounds that they walk around with. And, before every dog is paired with a veteran, they go through a long, very intentional process. It starts with, we rescue dogs. The majority of our dogs are rescues. And, we're bringing in all different kinds of dogs and we're scouring all over the country to find these dogs. And, first and foremost, they've got to be medically sound. I mean, our responsibility is not to put an additional burden on our warriors. They are already suffering enough. So we've got to make sure that these dogs are healthy, that they're going to last a long time for the warrior, and that they're going to be able to provide the services that they need to be structurally solid and capable of working for years to come. So we have to make sure that they can handle the physical demands of being a service dog. So when they're placed, they can fully support the warrior without limitations. One of the biggest things, especially in the rescue side of what we do with dogs, is the temperament testing. Unfortunately, as we go through shelters, there's most dogs can't get through that part of it, the temperament test, where we have to make sure that these dogs aren't going to put this warrior at risk or anybody out in public at risk. So we've got to test these dogs, to make sure that they can handle the loud noises, the crowds, the new environments, the unexpected situations. And if a dog gets startled, we know we can work through them, we will, but we have to make sure that we focus on getting these dogs ready for the real world readiness for our warriors. And our dogs learn how to navigate public spaces like stores, restaurants, airports, just like a human would. That's what people don't understand. We have to get these dogs to behave in all of those environments because, again, we're not trying to draw unnecessary attention to the warrior, humiliate the warrior, put the warrior in a compromising position. It's just the opposite. Their battle buddy is what brings them that peace at the other end of the leash. And with our warriors, that suffer from PTSD, the biggest thing they battle is isolation. They don't ever want to leave the house. And when they do, they'll go to Walmart at 3:00 in the morning so they don't see people, right? And these battle buddies that we give them become the bridge for them to get back into the world. And it gives them the confidence to go places that they just haven't been willing to go in years. And by the time our dogs earn their service vest, they've gone through months of structured training, behavior evaluations, and team matching. I think one of the greatest testimonies that you'll hear from the majority of our warriors, they say, I don't know how they picked the perfect dog for me. And I don't either. I really don't. I mean, I will put that to a higher power. But, it's still, we do put a lot of thought in our time in getting to know the warrior and getting to know the dog to find the perfect fit for that person and what's going to provide them that life-saving device. And, we're not just training dogs here, we're restoring lives. So we have to take a lot of heart into that and make sure we make the right decisions.
So Wyatt, we're coming up on time here, but I hear the call to action in your voice. We've got this incredible audience who care deeply about our veterans and for the animals as well, obviously with Pets Add Life. How can they get involved? How can they help you achieve your mission?
We just, again, want everybody to know who we are. K9sforwarriors.org is where you can get all of the information of how to apply for a service dog, how to give from a financial aspect, or how to volunteer for us, and any of those things. I mean, the advocacy is the most important part. It's telling people who we are so that if there's a veteran out there in their personal life who's struggling or that they know, they can direct them to us so we can help them And we stay in touch. We have wraparound services. When they're on that wait list, we're working with them, getting them prepared, working with their mental health. We have clinicians working with them. And then, of course, after they leave here, they're part of our family. We don't lose touch with them. We've saved over 1,200 lives in our existence, 1,200 pairings. And every one of those people are in our family as long as they let us be. And we're there to help them through the training of their dogs, to helping them with anything that they have by partnering them up with other VSOs out there. So go to the website. Obviously, donations are great, but we also need volunteers. So we'll take any help we can get, but don't forget that, that person walking down the street that looks normal with a service dog, they don't need any of your judgment. You need to understand their battles are real. And it's hard for some people to understand when they see someone in an airport with a dog who looks healthy, that's okay. It's okay. And that dog is why they're able to be in that airport. And everybody needs to understand that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this message with us, and for also all the incredible work that you're doing, especially this episode coming out on Veterans Day. It's really special to be able to share your mission and all the amazing work you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for just allowing us the opportunity and platform to tell people who we are and doing what you're doing to just get the word out for us. We couldn't be more thankful for your help, your support, and your partnership.
That was such an inspiring conversation with Wyatt. What really struck me is that you can get involved in so many different ways and help. If you don't have the means or the time to volunteer or donate, just sharing what they're doing at K9s For Warriors helps so much. I thought that was inspiring.
Yeah, and I really appreciate what he said about it's not a competition amongst the organizations, because there are quite a few organizations who do this kind of work. And it's not a competition. It's a race to the bottom. Like you said, race to get that number down to 0. So one last time, just thank you, Wyatt, to all of the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. If you need help, seek it. You never know what kind of resources are out there. And if you have a loved one or family member who is struggling, understand that there are programs out there you may not be even aware of. So get on the internet, do some research, and you never know how many lives you will save.
Yeah, it's an important message to share today.
All right, folks, we've got an incredible offer for you, because I'm looking through the camera. I'm looking through it, and I could see all of your stressed faces with this holiday season coming up. And DOGTV has an opportunity for you to pause and relax.
We have some great content for people and for pets. So you can choose if you want to watch some shows for yourself, or you want to plop your pet in front of the TV for a little bit of enrichment. And it's all totally free.
Yeah, you could head on over to watch.dogtv.com. You will see the little section there for free content. No credit card required at all. So go ahead and check it out through this holiday season. Pause, relax, snuggle up next to your furry friend, and take a big, deep breath. It's going to be okay.
Pause and relax. I can't wait to check it out.
The product of the week.
And it's time for our product of the week. And I'll kick things off. I've been on a little kick here, avoiding the dog and cat products. I'm spreading my wings.
I think that's good for everyone. There's more pets out there than just dogs and cats.
So I noticed. I think I'm going to feature this question later on the show, because I was sort of looking through our materials, and I saw somebody ask about rabbits, and I don't know that much about keeping rabbits as a pet. I had a cousin who had a pet rabbit, but I was so young. I didn't, the rabbit was fun. I didn't see it as a responsibility. But turns out rabbits need a lot of enrichment. These are very intelligent creatures who don't like to be bored. And typically, if they're destroying all your stuff, it's because they're bored. But they're also going to destroy your stuff because they are very similar to beavers in the sense that their teeth will keep growing. And they need to chew. They need to chew. And they also have very sensitive bellies, so you don't want them chewing on anything. So turns out, this is something rabbit owners probably already know, applewood is very good for their teeth. It's like the right hardness. It's all natural. It's kind of like what they would go chew on. The fallen apple branches is what they chew on in the wild.
Wood from an apple tree.
Yes. Yeah, wood from an apple tree. So this little product, it is called the Apple Twig Tree from Oxbow. And it is a little, it's like a coat rack, like a little stand with all the little apple twigs that go in it. And you could put all the little treats for the rabbit on it. You could put your little pieces of lettuce kind of through it, and any other treats, the little pellets can go on top of it. And when they finish their snack, they have something nice to chew on to clean and bevel their teeth nicely. And this is not an expensive product, because Chris, he is here and he cares about your wallet. I think it's listed on Chewy for $14.99.
Wow.
So a great little way to add a little bit of enrichment and quality of life to your small animal. I'm sure it's good for all types of small animals. I would consult maybe the instructions before you get. It's labeled for rabbits, guinea pigs, and chinchillas on the website.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking guinea pigs sound like they would like that too.
Yes. So let them go nuts. Give them all the snackies and don't worry about their teeth.
Well, I love that that's enriching, which, is one of my favorite topics. But it also sounds adorable to have like a little mini tree.
Yeah, it is so adorable.
So that's like enriching for me to like have this adorable thing to look at.
Enriching of the soul.
I love that. Well, so I have sort of an enriching product to share as well. There's this really cool subscription box. It's called Pup O'Clock, and it's a subscription box for families with kids and dogs. And I've never really seen something that's that specific niche before, but I actually discovered this maybe like almost a year ago, and I've been helping them create enrichment content every single month for their subscription box. So every month we have content developed by Dr. Daisy. She shares some veterinarian tips and pet safety and health, and how to care for your pet. And then I put together a really cool enrichment activity, and there's toys from Soda Pop, which makes really great enrichment toys, as well as treats and fun stickers. And the part that my nephews love the most is there's a trading card in every box.
Ooh, that would get me.
They love the
trading card.
So this box, it's really perfectly designed for kids who also have dogs, because they love the trading cards, but they're also learning responsibility, how to care for their pets, and how fun it can be once they start playing with them and doing games and training and enrichment. And it's just been really rewarding and fun to work with them. So that's called Pup O'Clock, and it is a subscription box. And what's another really cool thing that I love about it is when you first sign up, you get a sort of foundation welcome box. Everyone gets this, and it teaches you the basics. It gives you a chore chart for your kids to follow. So it's really, you're not just like being dumped in the middle with a random themed box. You're getting this initial box that really gets you set up for success with your kids and your pets. So it's been really fun working with them. And if you have kids and pets, I highly recommend checking it out.
I'm 33 and I want the box.
Well, you want the trading card.
I want the trading card. The toys, hit or miss. I'm pretty picky when it comes to my toys, but I'm sure there's something good in there for me. That sounds awesome. And now that us millennials have decided we need to start having children, but we're not getting rid of the dogs, I think there's a lot of people out there who'd be quite interested in such a thing.
Yes, because it's a common struggle is, once you the dog is your kid and then you have an actual kid and you're like, all right, now my kids have to kind of get along. So this kind of helps to fill that gap a little bit.
Q&As.
It is time for our favorite part of the show. That's right. We're going to answer 2 of your burning questions while you enjoy this show at home. And I know what you're thinking. How do I get my question answered by Chris and Tori? Well, it's quite simple. You head on over to petsadlife.org/podcast. You're going to scroll on down to the bottom of that page where you will see a form to submit your question. Or if you're feeling as brave as our outstanding veterans, you can record a voice memo and you may hear your question played live on these dang airwaves. So
yeah, don't let us do all the talking. Somebody's
gotta shut me up. Somebody has to do it. Okay, Tori, I've got a question from Elena. in San Diego. Thank you for your question, Elena. And they ask, my senior dog was recently diagnosed with cancer. So sad. It's already a sad question. What can I do to help extend his life and keep his quality of life high? Are there specific foods, supplements, or lifestyle changes that really make a difference?
Well, unfortunately, I do have a great answer for this because I have recently just gone through this entire journey with my late dog, Lucy. So I've done a lot of research, published some blog posts and YouTube videos to just try and get this info out to people because it was kind of hard to find. So here's what I did find. You want to give your dog the best quality food that you can afford. So for Lucy, that meant that we were serving her Dr. Harvey's Paradigm, which is a base mix that has all the vitamins and nutrients and veggies, lots of stuff like broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables and sweet potato things. Foods like that are kind of anti-cancer foods. So this Dr. Harvey's mix comes with all of that built in, and then you just add your cooked turkey or beef or chicken or whatever you want. So it's super healthy, clean food, and it's actually a keto-friendly diet. And the reason why you want to do that is without the carbs, carbs can kind of feed the cancerous tumors. So I found that giving her a very low-carb keto diet, it really did help. It helped her energy level. It helped her getting around. And I think it did slow the growth of her cancer a little bit. In terms of supplements, the very best one that you want to look for that is recommended for all dogs and people, I think, as sort of an anti-cancer supplement is turkey tail mushroom. It's a really powerful antioxidant, I guess, and you can buy it in a powdered form. There are pet versions and there are people versions, and I'll tell you right now, they're pretty much exactly the same. So just buy the best quality one that you can find and get your dog some turkey tail mushroom. And then lastly, with lifestyle changes, what made a really big difference in kind of making the most of the time that I had left with my dog Lucy was making sure to do something special that she enjoyed every single day. So for us, that meant that we drove to the woods every day for the 6 months that we had between when she was diagnosed and when she passed away, unfortunately. So, sometimes I would drive 5 minutes to the woods really close. Sometimes we would go half an hour or an hour away for, a more special adventure. But we kept the walks gentle and short. So it could be what she could handle. But I just knew from my dog, she really lit up when we got out in the woods and all those different smells and feelings and sights. It was really enriching for her. So if that's something your dog likes, try and make some time to do that and just be in the moment and enjoy the time that you have with them. But giving them something every day that kind of lights them up, I think it makes them feel happier and more positive. And I think that helps with this entire process. And I also just want to say I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and anyone out there who's been through it, it's just the worst. So you just kind of do what you can. And whatever you're doing, just asking this question, I know that you're an amazing pet parent and you're already doing a good job just exploring the possibilities.
That was a very thorough answer. I feel like you're 2 credits away from becoming an oncologist. That was pretty incredible. But yes.
I did a lot of research. I mean, it's kind of my job to research pet stuff, so I took it very seriously.
It's my job too, and I do not take it seriously.
Well, so since we don't want to end on such a heavy note, this episode and this question session, I do have another question for you, Chris. That's a little bit lighter, I think. I don't know.
We'll find out. Let's see
where you take it. But this question actually comes from Megan, another West Coaster from Portland, Oregon. And Megan says, I recently adopted a rabbit and I want to make sure I'm caring for them properly. What are the most important things to know about housing, diet, and social interaction for a happy, healthy bunny rabbit?
Yeah, this is a great question. And, there is a lot that goes into caring for a rabbit that people don't necessarily expect, because we kind of lump them in with like this small animal genre, but they're very different from how you would take care of like a hamster or a guinea pig. The first is they require a lot more space than you think. I think the recommendation is like 12 square feet for their pen, which is the size of essentially like the office I'm in right now. And it's because they need to hop. Otherwise, they're going to feel really bad, mentally and physically. I mean, imagine having these big, long limbs and real strong muscles and never being able to flex them. So it's like 3 to 4 hops in square feet if you're measuring it by rabbit.
Okay.
So
maybe ask your own unique rabbit to hop and see how far.
You want to give them a couple of strides, right? It's like if you're taking a phone call in a room and want to pace around. It's the same idea. The other thing to consider is they are prey animals. They're going to want to hide a lot. So make sure that they have some type of den or pen or pillow fort, whatever you feel like. It's just these little guys and gals, they like to hide, especially when they feel nervous. The other thing I would say is they're going to poop and pee everywhere. You can't housebreak them. You can't really train them. The best thing you could do is just put down a nice wide amount of litter and bedding and clean up after them pretty often. As far as social interaction goes, rabbits are actually a pet that I recommend getting a bonded pair, siblings if you can, or 2 rabbits that get along. Male, female, obviously very dangerous. There's a
what
reason
they say about rabbits.
Yeah, there's a reason they say it. And male can also sometimes be tough if they form a rivalry. So for beginners, I would say female is a good way to go if you can find it. They do really well together. They love hanging out. Rabbits love hanging out and just chilling and eating their snacks. And speaking of eating their snacks, for diet, there's all sorts of companies that are going to make pellets, which could be most of their diet. But if you want to give them a special treat, they love their leafy greens. The carrots are actually quite bad for them.
I was just going to ask you, do they really like carrots?
They're chock full of sugar, and they really don't eat them. So the reason we have that stigma or stereotype is the word I'm looking for rabbits is because they'll eat the carrot tops. So you could give them carrot tops, and they'll pull them out of the ground because they're eating the carrot tops.
Maybe
and now
celery? Do you think they would
celery?
Celery
Is great. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Kale, incredible, and they love it. Can you imagine loving kale as much as a rabbit would? I would be so skinny. I'd be so skinny. I would never have to worry about bathing suit season.
I don't know. I recently heard Martha Stewart say that she doesn't eat kale because it makes her burp. So you might be skinny, but you might be burping a lot.
I'm burping a lot anyway. There's no stopping me. Anyway, Megan, good luck with the new rabbit. I'm sure you're going to be a fantastic new pet owner. I've got no doubt in my mind. That brings us to the end of our show already. Tori, I'm going to miss you.
Yeah, this was a great episode. We covered so much. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to it. I loved talking with all of our guests and great questions.
Yeah, and again, a happy Veterans Day to those who observe. And thank you to all of our veterans for your dedicated service to this country and everything that you do for all of us here back home side. That's it. We'll be back next Tuesday. We never miss an episode. So until then, be kind to yourself, be kind to your pets, and we'll see you in a week.
Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and DOGTV.